Hello out there in the Artfully Connected Facebook group land. I know it's crazy, but that's what it is. It's our family of artfully connected humans and in Laurie's case, creatives, right?
That's right. Lots of creatives.
And we're connecting all over the place. So I want to just give a big thank you to Laurie for being here, first off. And I want to thank all of you who are joining us live. And hopefully you can find us. And if your friends are looking for us, please help them find us. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for taking time out to watch us on the replay as well. We're just going to shoot the breeze for a little bit before we get started, because I know sometimes it takes people a little bit of time to find us. So how's the weather, Laurie?
We were at 63 today.
Whoa.
63. The snow is gone for the most part in most of the lawns. So that's exciting. So now we can clean up our yards after our dogs. So because now everything has surfaced. So that's tomorrow's project. And then we're heading into rain and, that kind of season. So it'll still snow once more in Iowa.
Okay.
It will always, about middle of March, it always snows. There is no way around it. So, yeah. But it's okay. It's an okay thing.
We're still cold, although it wasn't bad, but we're still on the colder side. And but it should go up to 60 by Thursday.
Yeah, you'll be getting our stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for sending us the sun.
You're welcome.
So it's coming, and I'm gonna break out those t-shirts. Let me tell you.
It was nice going to the post office without a coat and all the other extra paraphernalia you got to put on. So
yeah, that would be nice. I know. Today I had to go spend time outside. I don't usually like to do that, but my daughter's a Montessori school teacher.
Oh, okay.
And her helper went to get her vaccine shot today. So she couldn't be alone with that many children. So she said, "Mom, will you come sit in?" And I'm like, "Don't make me talk to them. I don't want to talk to them."
Please don't make me talk to him.
My baby's 30 years. He's 29. And I don't do 3-year-olds anymore, And, but oh my God, the minute I get in there, who are you? What's your name? And I said, "I'm Miss Shauna's mom." No, what's your real name? And like the eyes, what is your real name? I'm like, "Okay, it's Cindy." "Can I call you Cindy?" I'm like, "Well, you can call me Miss Cindy."
Jeez.
There is no, I don't know, moss on these kids. Oh
no. It's a totally different environment anymore from when I was back in the day.
Yeah, but I had to go outside with them, and so we stood outside. Luckily, Shauna came with me, so we stood outside and watched them slide around on the ice. And I'm like, they're falling left and right, and they're getting back up, and they're falling again. And I'm like, oh, how it would be to be that young again and not have to hurt when you fall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is true. I understand that concept. I do understand that one.
You don't want to fall anymore.
Nope. Might break a hip at this point.
Yeah, don't do that. So we have a lovely group of people here today, Laurie.
Super.
It's so awesome. And I'm so excited to be here and to have you here and to talk about your artful journey, because I just imagine that it is a wonderful one. And
it's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, but other than that.
And isn't that fun? I like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Okay. And as you see, we're all decked out. I mean, she's got more decking than I do, but I try. So tell us, we're going to start off with, for the people who are here, this is Laurie Speltz, and she is also known as the Creative Coach. And I'm sure if you haven't noticed her in the trade shows before, this is her. And she's going to tell us all about what she's doing and how to get a hold of her and everything. But if you have questions for her, please put them in the comment section, and I will make sure that she hears them and answers them. And even if you're watching the replay, please go ahead and put your comments there. But this time, put a little @ sign in front of her name. That's what we call tagging. So if you put @ Laurie Speltz, then her name will pop up, and she'll see the comment, the question, and answer it for you. So the first question, where are you from?
I am from Iowa, but I'm actually from Northeast Iowa originally. So I'm up towards the Minnesota border. And so that's where I'm at. So I have kind of that Minnesota thing going on a little bit as well. So you'll hear that in my voice a little bit. But yeah, I'm from northern Iowa, and then I moved south. So, but Des Moines is in the middle of the state, and we are right in the middle of the country. So I'm 18 hours to either coast. So that's 18 to 20 hours, and I can go coast to coast. So that's kind of.
You're only a day away. Road trip.
2 days, two days out to you. And those are two long days.
What a wimp.
I know. I'm getting soft in my old age. It used to not bother me, and I'm not enjoying it as much anymore. So
yeah, there is that nowadays, huh?
Yeah.
Did you?
But I was actually born in South Dakota, if you want the full story.
Oh.
So I was born in South Dakota. My parents moved back to Iowa, and then I've stayed in Iowa. I did move out of the state when my first teaching job. I went out to Indiana and taught, and then I finally made my way back to Iowa, and I've stayed here ever since.
So that's many years.
Many years, too many years. Yeah.
Oh, you're still young.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't always feel that way.
Well,
but we'll go with that.
That's a whole nother subject, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So you said you were born in Indiana? No, you're born
born in South Dakota.
South Dakota. Yeah. Okay. So you weren't there very long?
Nope. And then they moved back to Iowa, and been here ever since.
So are they, because I know your sister and you were in business, is it just the two of you?
Yep. It's just the two of us.
And did you come from an artistic family? Is your mom or dad or relatives artistic?
My mom was, both my parents are gone, but my mom was in the day, my friends always said she was Martha Stewart before there was Martha Stewart. So she decorated every door and knew how to do every kind of craft. We did every kind of craft you could think of. If it was the Reader's Digest, fold it, make whatever, we did them.
We did the angel one? Did you do the angel one?
Oh yeah.
Because I remember that as a child, but I can't remember how did we do it? How did we do
fold
that?
Fold the page, and then you painted the whole thing.
Did she have wings?
Yep.
Because
I can't remember.
I don't remember. I don't remember all of it. I just remember that we had it on the piano.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did you do the macaroni on the shoes?
Of course we would. Why would we were trendy. we went with whatever trends were in. But no, I mean she always had a beautifully decorated home and took real pride in it, and so we grew up that way. So I have an uncle that had an artist background. I have a cousin who is a wildlife artist. He's won the Duck Stamp Award many, many times. Yeah. So we have art in our family. It's in the genes. And I tried to stay away from art, never took art in high school, never had time. I took one semester, and that's all, because you were college prep, and every time it was offered, there was always either a science class or a math class that we had to have. So couldn't take it. And so consequently, then, I waited till college to get a chance to, actually put it in. And I have a minor in art education. I don't have a major. I have a minor in art education. So
minors are just as important.
Mm-hmm. And then I ended up teaching art. So that's, and I taught K through 12. So.
Right. So you didn't. So the next question would have been, when did you start painting? So that was more in college.
No, painting was actually after, they had acrylic paints, and I've done oils, and I've done, pastels, and I've done, you dabble. But in a minor, you don't really concentrate on any one area. I took jewelry making, which, and jewelry making, you thought it would be this, you find this and you put together a brooch or something, whatever. No, it's not. You cut every piece of metal and you learn to put it together, and you polish and you polish and you cut and you polish. And you spent a whole semester on one piece of jewelry. And it was, you had to, like I made a stick pin, you had to make the pin.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it was quite a different thing than I had anticipated. But anyway, but you got to, and there were kids there.
And they charged you for that.
And they charged me for that. And, you worked a whole semester on this stupid thing.
Do you still have it?
No, I gave it to my mom, actually. It's probably up in her jewelry.
That'd be cool to pull it out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But it just had this awkward little shape, but it was all out of one piece. So it had like an opening, and then the stick pin came down like behind it, but it was all connected, and you had to cut all that and then shape it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I know, but you can say you did it. You did it.
Exactly right. And it taught you other lessons.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I didn't paint. We did a lot of painting, like in grade school and stuff like that. I went to a Catholic school, and we spent more time decorating and doing that kind of stuff, and learn more lessons from that. Today, you'd be not allowed to do all that kind of stuff. We learned more from those interactions and the planning and having to work together and all those kind of things than you could ever teach, in any kind of lesson. But painting happened after I'd been out, and I'd actually left teaching, and I decided I didn't want to teach anymore. 7 years I was out. I saw the writing on the wall, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And it's not fun. I hate every day going into, I taught in a small school, and so elementary and junior high was fine. My high school class was every kid that got kicked out of shop. That's who was in my art class. And so nobody really wanted to be there. And the kids that were I was also, of course, had to be yearbook advisor and all that, stuff that goes with it. Those kids who were very talented, couldn't be in class because they had the same problem I had. All the college prep classes were always at the time that the art class was offered. So they could never be there.
Yeah, that's really hard. That's really hard.
Yeah. So I became a sales rep for a sporting goods company, but art came back in again, because what did I do? I designed shirts, and I designed, uniforms, and I designed all these things. And I'm like, there's something going on. Art just keeps popping back up. And so my sister was the CFO of a Veterans Hospital, and she had started in Washington, D.C., came back to Chicago, and then finally to Des Moines. And she couldn't go any higher except to go back to Washington. And she didn't want to do that. And so she was ready to do something different. I was ready to do something different. So despite Mom's bad little looks, we both quit our jobs.
And you because you hadn't started this company yet then, right?
No. And we went to a craft show, and I said, I think I could do that. Because I saw some painted stuff. And so that's how it started. Wow. And so she base coats, I do the finish work, and that's how it started. Now she doesn't paint at all. She just takes care of the paperwork, because I don't want to do that.
As your mom, I totally get, like, because it would have been one thing if you had the business already started, but you were doing like a hobby thing. And then you said, no, I think I can make money at this. So let's quit our day jobs and just focus on this. That I can wrap my head around that. But just nope.
Yep.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. And Sandy had gotten, at that time, they were doing like buyouts where they were reducing the size. So she was able to take a buyout, and they couldn't replace her or do away with her job. But anyway, they did somebody down, below her. And that gave us the seed money. And then I basically pimped out my sister to casinos. And she opened actually 2 casinos as assistant controller. And so she worked during the day at a casino while I was learning this industry.
Wow.
And she wasn't on the floor. She was back counting money in the back room. But she opened 2 different casinos here in Iowa.
That's amazing.
Yep. So I pimped her out.
Oh my God. The stories you can tell, I'm sure. I can't even. And she went along with it though,
Yeah, she did. She did. Yep.
It's amazing. So you went to a craft fair, you saw people selling their wares, and you said, hey, I think I can do that.
Yep. And I read every magazine. I'm a researcher, so I can learn to do anything, but you have to research it. So I read every book, every magazine, and I tried to get mine to look what I saw in there. So that's how I learned technique. But since I didn't have any classes, I had to teach myself. But I knew color theory. I knew all that kind of stuff, but I didn't know decorative painting.
Right.
So that's what I had to learn.
Because you have the minor in art, you already had a lot of what a lot of people don't have in our industry because they don't have an art degree at all, but
Right.
They learn over time and by taking classes. So did you eventually start taking classes with other people at conventions or anything like that?
Never.
No.
Never. I've done it all on my own.
Wow. And you had mentioned earlier before we went live that it's a small bit. What'd you say? Small bit.
It's International Women's Business Day or Women's Day. International Women's Day.
I think you're the epitome of that. It's like, oh my God, you are so awesome. That you did that. You took that initiative. And so one of my questions was there any particular artist that influenced you? But would you say that there was?
I liked Pat Olson because of her simplicity. And that's what you saw at most of the craft shows, but yet she stepped it up a little bit farther. And then there were others, that as I got into the business, I got to know. But that was, the basics. But I used the magazines. Better Homes and Gardens is based here in Des Moines. And so that's how I basically got my start into publishing and doing all of that, was that by chance, I hand painted a nutcracker and took it to my next door neighbor in this new shopping area. We have a place called Valley Junction with like antiques and crafty stores and that kind of thing. Back in the day, it was like the place to be. Well, we couldn't afford to be on Main Street. So we were around the corner by this train depot because it was where the trains always came through. Well, little did I know that the editor-in-chief of all the craft magazines, Bev Rivers, owned that antique shop. And so I went over and to meet our neighbors because we were new. I painted these nutcrackers up and put them in a basket with nuts and did the whole little foo-foo thing going around, took it over and said, hey, I just want to introduce ourselves. And we've got a little craft shop next door. And she goes, you do? What do you do? She goes, did you paint this nutcracker? I said, yeah, I did. And she goes, would you like to do magazine articles? And she came over to the shop and saw it. And that's how it all started.
Wow. How incredible. How incredible. That it's like that right time, being at the right place at the right time, everything. How incredible. So that's how you started putting your designs in the magazines.
Right. Because that's what I wanted to pursue. I wanted to publish. That's what I didn't want to do craft shows. I saw the writing on the wall. I couldn't produce enough stuff to do craft show after craft show. It just was. And that's how we discovered stencils. Was that's what everybody was using, but no one was talking about it. So we cut our own stencils for all these years after I figured it out, because there was this gal, and every week she came with this beautiful booth full of stuff. And I'm like, how the heck is she doing this? Because I'm working my tail off and I can get just a small amount done. And so I stood in the booth and looked, and she made a mistake. And you know what? She made that mistake 27 times on that same piece. And I'm like, my gosh, she's using stencils. And that's how it started. And nobody talked about it back then.
Well, is that because they thought it was cheating? I mean, you know.
Exactly. So, you know, it was hand painted. Well, yeah, it is. And it is just, and we still believe that. It's just base the color that we're putting down, and then we learn technique to go over the top. And so we've blazed a lot of trails in this industry.
So would you say you became a designer like just out of necessity? I mean, you just started doing it the minute you quit your day jobs and went into this business and all your research and stuff. You just like, do you follow the trends? I mean, you read all the magazines, you looked at the Better Homes and Gardens and all those. Did you follow the trends then? You kind of foresaw what was coming into style, so you based your designs around that?
And we always tried to be ahead. So you did your research so that you knew what was, you know, colors and things, you know, and you watched what was in the stores, and, you know, and of course it doesn't hit Iowa until 3 years after they've said it was supposed to be, you know, popular, because it'll hit both coasts and then it finally comes inward, you know, but you don't learn that right away. So we were ahead of the curve for a long time, you know, and it's like, oh, now it's popular. Okay, we did that 3 years ago, but oh well.
I know that feeling all too well.
Yeah, we are.
The curve.
Yeah, but that's how it started. So
that's wonderful. That's a fantastic story, and I knew it was going to be a good story. You just look like a good storyteller to me.
I am a good storyteller. I even did the speech thing in school, and guess what my category was? Go ahead, take a wild guess. Improvisational storytelling, because there was no prep and I didn't have time to do anything. And you walk into the room and you put your hand in a bowl and you pick out a topic, and they give you a half an hour and you make your presentation.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. I think I would fail that course for sure.
So that was my extracurricular activity.
There you go. I mean, that is a talent. Let me just say, that is a talent. Not everybody is blessed with that one.
Well, yeah.
Christina is writing over here. Laurie, love your story. My first seminar with you was at Banbury Fair in Bartlett, Illinois. Yep. And I was never so excited to being a new painter. You're getting a lot of accolades over there. So definitely go check that out afterwards. So you've painted just a lot of different design. I mean, you've created a lot of different designs, different subject matters. And do you have a favorite subject matter that you like overall? Like, you know, that you like to paint more than, or design more?
Whatever sells. For us, this is a business. It's a business. So if you know, I'm enjoying the gnome thing right now. I think it's a nice broad thing that everybody can have a different kind of gnome, and yet everybody can play in the same, you know, base. But I've always been known for our snowmen. So, you know, it's been, you know, that's kind of what we started with. And that's kind of where we kind of, you know, did our teeth. You know, we've done over 60 books in this industry. We self-published. We published with Viking. I've published with Cabin Crafters. We've published with Leisure Arts. We've published all the magazine things. So once we had that experience with Better Homes and Gardens, we knew that's where I wanted to be. But, you know, I've always kept my designs simple. Okay, because we knew in business, you have to know who your customer is. And my customer was other crafters because that's where I came from. And so one thing you have to know about crafting is you can't put a lot of detail into it, even though you'd like to. And so we always live by the thing, simple sells.
You're right.
And it's true. And so I've always kept my designs a little bit more simple. It's been fun these last couple of years. Now I can branch out and do some things that are a little bit, more entailed, but I still consider our stuff simple, but it was done that way for a business reason. It wasn't because that was the only thing I could paint. It was because that's simple sells. And that was something that we kind of lived by.
But yeah, I was a crafter before I became a designer and teacher, and because my mom's a crafter, and that was what she lived for. Like, when I retire, I'm going to do craft fairs. So I'm like, okay, let's do craft fairs together. But I love Pat Olson, like you said, because it was simple, you can get it done, and it still was presentable. It was a beautiful little piece of artwork,
Right.
And then they sold. They always sold, and your stuff always sells for that reason, that people can do it and not put a lot of time into it and still have some product that is very beautiful.
Right. And they can still simplify it down even farther, and many people do. So it just depends on, the person. But, that's part. We've always approached this, both my sister and I, this is a business for us. This was a life decision. And so the love of the art is great, but to us, it is a business. And we approach it that way.
And that's how come you're so successful. Just saying. If you think like a hobbyist, you're always going to be a hobbyist, right?
Right.
Norma's asking, are you going to design another book?
What? I'm not saying anything right now.
We'll just have to wait and see on that one.
To be continued.
There you go. So how, how do you come up with your designs now currently? How do you come up with the designs now? I mean, before you did a lot of research, you went in a lot of magazines, all that kind of stuff, but do you still do that today?
Yep. That is exactly what I do. I look at color, I look at shapes. If gnomes are everywhere, there's 62,000 ways to make a gnome. And I have a certain way that I do my things, to simplify the design itself and put it into simple shapes. And I kind of draw that way, in that everything always goes back to shape. And that's how I taught when I was a teacher. And that's what kids loved, was to draw, but they have to be able to draw. You can't just go and say, okay, let's do this today. Everything is based on shape. And every drawing class I ever took, even I trained for a while as a commercial artist. And even those classes always went to perspective. I took a sign class. What did we do? Perspective the entire time. I'm like, I didn't come here I came here to learn how to take that brush, make this beautiful lettering. And what did we do? Perspective. So I've always been disappointed in every drawing class I've taken at any level. College, we did the nudes and the chalk and the whole thing like that. And I'm like, this isn't helping me.
I took one once, and he put a pepper down. He said, now draw it. And I'm like, but I'm here to learn how to draw.
Exactly.
If I already knew how to draw, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, it was well, whatever.
I had that same discussion with a college instructor. I said, but I'm here. Do you have, well, it's an okay, drawing, whatever it was. And I'm like, and how do I do it better?
Right.
He had no input.
Yeah.
He goes, practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yay. So I basically, again, research drawing, and I've come to how I teach drawing is basic shape, and everything goes back to a shape. And then you modify the shape to get, all the fun stuff.
Yeah. cool. We had a question here, and let's see. I don't want to lose it. It says, "Do you visit craft fairs and department stores to see what the trends are?"
That's what I use as a cover. I like to shop. But yeah, I do go. And I think it's important to do that. I go at least 2 times a month, if not more, even during this pandemic, because you have to go out and you have to look. And the color, when you go into a store, even if you're going into home goods, okay, and you've got all of the towels, and the colors will just speak to you. And they'll talk to you basically about where are the trends, what's coming up. And you can go into any of your cooking areas. Mm-hmm. Same thing. You'll see all the trends with all the different colors and that kind of thing. Ray Dunn right now. Look at Ray Dunn. Again, Ray Dunn is a very simple thing, but where is it? It's over in the home decor. You find it now in your housewares and, that kind of thing. Where most of us go to the craft area and look, you really got to go and venture out even beyond that, beyond the gifts and all that kind of stuff. You look at clothing, you look at swimsuits, you look at, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And Pinterest has been a great thing because you can research all that stuff through Pinterest, which is wonderful. And Pinterest, as a note, was created by a kid from Des Moines, Iowa, believe it or not, who is now a multimillionaire.
Wow.
He went to Valley High School, and he wanted to create a way to catalog things.
Wow.
And he created Pinterest.
I was going to say, was he in one of your classes?
No.
I get lost on Pinterest. I made a mistake of, I love making cards. So, and they have, obviously, right. So I went in and I would save a few cards. And I'd say, oh, I like that one, I'll save it. Oh, I like that one, I'll save. So now I must get Pinterest notifications twice a day. Here's some cards you might like. Here's some more cards you might like. And I'm like, we thought you would like these. And I'm like, oh, please stop sending me. Because I get sidetracked. It's almost like a little ADD. I get sidetracked and I'm supposed to be doing my accounting and I'm over here.
It's called the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's it.
Go down the rabbit hole.
All the time. Oh my goodness. So you had mentioned you've done 30 books. Someone was asking.
60.
60. Oh, geez, 60 books. Wow. And I
started with Miller Woodcraft, and then we did books with Better Homes and Gardens, and we did books with like I said, Viking and Cabin Crafters. We self-published for many years and were very successful when we self-published. And then Leisure Arts basically ruined the book industry. So we'll just leave it at that one.
There you go. And someone wrote here, let's see, Mary says she must own stock in Target Bullseye stuff. When you should have taken stock out in, right?
Exactly. No, but you know why I enjoy the Target Bullseye? Because they're constantly changing, and they are creating trends, and they try to do things where everybody can participate on a budget. And that's what I like about it. And Target is wide enough spread that I can take a surface or show them something there, and they might have a chance. It's so popular right now, you guys. There are groups that just resell Target stuff. Yeah.
They buy it and
they buy it and resell.
Wow.
Because people want the stuff so much.
And doesn't Target have an online shop that you can go and purchase it from Target?
They do, but it goes out as fast as it comes in, and they'll redo the shelves 2 and 3 times, and it'll be gone within hours. And I've watched the people shop that, and it's very interesting to watch and who's doing it. And it's the young people that'll pick it up, and all the young people are minimalists. Mm-hmm. And they'll pick it up, and you can watch them, and their mind's just going, and they've got one spot where this will go in. you know. And the same way, the tiered trays, you know, for years now, crafters have not been able to sell the little stand-up, you know, characters or whatever. Well, hello, tiered trays. Now tiered trays are allowed in the minimalist house because they have a place to be. It's not just it's not a shelf sitter. It's a tiered tray item.
I have noticed them and I'm like, why? You know?
Oh, and I've watched, I mean, people in Hobby Lobby will spend 20 minutes to pick out the perfect chicken to fit on their, you know, it's wild. It's wild.
So
but that's part of the research. So that's the part I enjoy.
Do you have a tier tray in your home?
Hello.
Oh, it's hiding up there.
I have racks of tiered trays now over here. So they will change with the seasons. But yeah, I bought all the $5 tiered trays. We have the tiered tray back here.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, we got the tiered tray here. So yeah, we have the tiered tray, and now I'm doing a new line of stuff for tiered trays that I'm working on right now. So
maybe that's her new book, Norma. We're not saying anything. You had mentioned how you did dabble in many other mediums. Would you know, what is your favorite medium today? You know,
I'm a decorative painter, and that's all I do. I don't dabble around in anything. I don't have time. You know, I get up and I work on my business from the time I get up till the time I get, you know. And both my sister, we're lucky. We don't have families, so we can do that. We have a poor dog that puts up with us, and she sometimes gets ignored a little bit because this is our passion and this is what we do. And we've done it since the account was open for the business in 1990. So we have been doing it since then in one form or another.
That's amazing. The longevity and with all that, when I joined the industry, it was in the early to mid 90s. And my mom always said, you know, it's going down, because she was trying to do toll painting earlier in the early 80s. Mm-hmm. And at more the height, I would think, in the 80s.
Yep. And we never saw any of that.
Yeah, I never saw any of that either.
Okay, they were here. We came in here, and like I said, we wrote it all the way down, and now we're writing it all the way back up.
And unfortunately, it took the pandemic to do that.
Exactly right.
It's, you know, nothing to laugh about. We feel really badly about that, but it's where we are, right?
Well, and thank God I broke my kneecap, because that gave me 6 months to research what I needed to do to get online and do what I needed to do.
So that was last year?
2 years ago, actually. I worked 12 years at Starbucks to get my insurance. And so I worked there, and it saved me $10,000 a year by just working there, of what I paid for insurance versus what I would have paid out of pocket. And so I worked 12 years there. I just retired in December. And 2 years ago, somebody left a box out. My foot got caught underneath. I went flying and I broke my kneecap. Yeah. And then I ruined my other knee while that knee was rehabbing. So, hey. But what it gave me time to do was to research. And I watched every YouTube video I could on how to get on camera, how to do a YouTube video, how to, you know, and that's how this all got going.
Wow.
So thank you, Starbucks, and my broken knee.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a shame you had to go that far to do that, but okay. But congratulations on your retirement, though.
Thank you.
So you're really not retired, but
no, I'm not. But you know what? It's like the dream finally's here, and I can work in my business, and I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun, and I've got a lot to get caught up and straightened around yet, but it's like a dream come true at this point.
it's like I said earlier off camera, how lucky we are that we can actually say we love to wake up and go to work in the morning.
Yep.
You know, and that we love what we're doing. So it's very few people, I think, in the world have that ability. You know, I know my husband, he doesn't. He's like, can I retire yet? And I'm like, no, give me a few more years, or otherwise I'm going to have to start working for Starbucks. So
there you go.
And I don't drink coffee, so
you don't have to. It's not a requirement. Although you do have to taste things a lot of times, even if you're not a coffee drinker.
So what would you say is your favorite technique?
I like doing backgrounds, and so I like layering. Any kind of layering we can do. And I like using my stencils to layer. So stenciling is basically the technique that, I mean, we have over 300 stencils in our line. So obviously something's going on there. And I like layering. And so that's what I like to do. And with layering, I can do it a multitude of different ways, different tools, different this, different that. But it's basically any kind of layering technique.
Cool. Now, do you have a favorite brush? Like with your stenciling, do you have a favorite brush?
We had our brushes custom made. And what I did was I actually packaged up all my brushes, got on an airplane, went into New York City and had our brushes made. FM Brush makes our brushes. And they actually took brushes I'd been using for 2 and 3 years that I absolutely adored. And then they custom fit all of the heads so that it was those brushes, so that the customer can get that coming right out of the package versus having to wait like we did to get them the way I wanted them.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we have our own stencil brushes. And then I use probably my favorite brush are the angle brushes. And I use those for my shading. So, and shading is what separates the men from the boys. So.
And so you sell the brushes. I mean, I know you sell the stencils you sell the brushes on your website as well.
Yep.
So we're LaurieSpeltz.com.
Correct. Yeah.
There you go. So we'll put that. I didn't put that in the description of the article, so we'll have to go and put that in there after, so everyone knows. If you haven't already visited LaurieSpeltz.com, you should go check that out. What is your best tip? Like what would be your best tip to give a newbie painter or a seasoned painter? Or
I've been called a prolific painter, and that is I produce a lot. And the only way you get better is repetition. The more you do, the better you get. So you just keep plugging along. And you just try to improve each thing you do. And it's numbers. Everything's a number game with me. So when if you want to get better, go ahead, do your first 1,000, then we'll talk.
That makes sense. It totally makes sense.
You have to have the persistence, and you have to be willing to just put in the time.
Would that be the same tip that you would give somebody who is wanting to break into the crafting business or
yes,
any kind of business?
Yep, you have to be persistent. Sandy and I model ourselves kind of after Walt and Roy Disney. Walt was the creative one. Roy was the money man. Okay. Sandy is the money person. She tells me no constantly. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. Walt was known of sending Roy out of town if he wanted a ride built. And he'd send him on some mission. And by the time he got back, he would have mortgaged his house. He'd do whatever to get it done. And we're kind of the same way. I walk the tightrope. I'm willing to make the mistakes. And then I plop it in her lap how to deal with it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I could
aren't you sorry you asked?
You could drive your sister crazy, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But I mean, what a wonderful partner to have, though. I
Yeah.
mean, because one person really can't do it all. It's way too much for one person to do.
That's the problem with our businesses. Most creatives are not business people. I was lucky enough to be a sales rep. So one, you have to be able to talk, and you have to be able to sell, and you have to be able to do all that. But then again, I also had to do some paperwork. And then now I have Sandy, who does all of that stuff that I don't want to deal with. But yet I still do my share of paperwork in this industry. So, you have to do what you have to do. I pack every package. We have 400 packages go out. I pack 400 packages.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to do, even for two people sometimes,
Yeah, so you wear every hat in this industry.
Yeah, if you want to be successful.
Right.
Definitely. Is there a medium, a subject matter, or a technique that you haven't done yet that you would like to try?
I would like to do more with like markers and things like that. I'm intrigued by markers. When I was in college, and even when I was in training as a graphic artist, we had to buy all the markers. I mean, we had to buy the whole flipping set of them, and that was expensive back in the day. Well, it still is very expensive. And they never taught us how to use them. We bought them. They didn't tell us how to use them. And I would like to go back and learn that, and just again, layering of color and doing all the fun stuff that they do with the markers and that. So, I like mixed media, and I like, some of that kind of stuff. So if anything, it'd be mixed media that I probably would like, because I enjoy stamps. I enjoy all that other stuff. So.
Cool. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean about the markers, because my daughter did, my middle child, Katie, who's helping me now with the business, and she did a graphic arts degree, and she bought all the Prismacolor markers.
Yeah, the Prismas. They made you buy the whole set.
Yeah. Luckily, she learned how to use them, but I don't know that
they never taught us how to use them. Yeah. That was a tool we could use. And I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. And never got that far.
Right. I get it. That my other daughter took illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where you have the acetate and you do the cartoon things like what Walt Disney's Imagineers do?
Well,
illustration.
It'd be more than,
but you know what I mean.
So animation.
Like animation, like cells. Yeah.
Cells, yeah.
Cells. And I had to buy a whole packet. You couldn't buy just 10. You had to buy this whole packet. Yep. And she barely used any of them. With the board, with the markers, with the everything that goes with the class. And I don't even know that she produced anything out of it.
Yeah.
So I kept them all, because I'm like, I'm going to use them for something. I don't know what. I still have a package. I don't know what. And this is like 20 years ago. But I'm keeping those suckers.
Yeah. But that's what they did. Yeah. They had this whole supply list. And that's why I try not to do that to our students, is that if I've got something on the supply list, I'm going to use it. I'm not going to, because I had that done to me too many times in these classes.
Yeah, you don't want to make them buy something that they can't,
Yeah, or you're not going to show them how to use it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Definitely. So that brings us up to what you're doing for Artful Webinars and show and tell time. Yay!
Yeah! It's a celebration truck.
Now you cut the wood for that. you cut your own wood, or is
No,
he?
I used to. I don't cut anymore. I still have a scroll saw and stuff, but I use Pinecraft. Doug at Pinecraft does most of my wood anymore. And it used to be Cabin Crafters until they retired. They only lived like 20 minutes away, but they kind of arranged Doug and my relationship, and so anyway, he cut these for us and does a great job. And then we made a compilation stencil. So this takes, I mean, there was like 7 stencils involved. So for classes, what I do is a compilation. So I take only the parts that I use, and then I make up a special stencil for them. So I made up special. They have 2 stencils that they can get, and it's $10. And we just did them at $10 for the 2 of them. And
Cool. So
yeah.
you don't cut the wood because Pinecraft or the other one does it. Now, do you cut your own stencils? So did you have to go and not even? Okay.
No,
Sorry.
we don't. I can cut a set here, but we use the big boys. We use the same stencil cutter as the ones that you see out in the big boy world. They cut our stencils too.
And it's always been like that since the beginning of
Always has been that way.
I thought maybe at one point you had bought yourself a.
No, I create all the stencils and then I send the artwork up to them, and then they actually cut them. But since the creation of silhouettes and crickets and all that, I have a silhouette and I can cut a sample one here. But I put all the breaks in and all that good stuff. And yeah,
Wow. Because that's an art form in itself also.
Yeah, it is. It is. So we have over 300, and so we're getting close to, I think it's 380. So we're almost close to 400 stencils. That's a lot of product to keep in line. So, and we keep all of them current, so that I always try to come up with new designs using stencils I haven't used in a while, because we don't use our stencils once. We use them as tools that you make a collection. And I got a big book back here full of stencils. And that's a full set. But we just reuse them and reuse them. And so they're tools. Because again, I don't want somebody to buy something and they use it once and then throw it to the side because it's only good for that project. So that's been my philosophy on that. So
Excellent. Yeah. That's a good one. And that's why people keep coming back to you, because
well, I appreciate that.
So if anyone wants to sign up for that class for the convention, which is next week already, you have to call us, myself or Katie. It's 603-420-8794, and we will get you into Laurie's class. So what other thing? I mean, you are one of the few other people that I know that have as many plates up in the air as I do.
Spin.
You knew what I meant.
Yes, I did.
So tell us, what other things do you have going on in your life today?
Well, I'm on 3 times to 4 times a week online somewhere. So I created a Live in Laurie studio, and that was the first lives that I did. So every Wednesday night I'm live off of my page, my business page. And that I've been doing since my knee break. that was the first thing we did. And then since then we've done created a subscription group called Teamworks. And Teamworks does a lot of projects that I wouldn't normally do it lets me step out of the box. Plus I let them in on the creative side, how I create, and teach them how I draw and how I create and how I do the things that I do. And that's what Teamworks is. And it's a nice group. And we just always do something fresh. I don't do the projects ahead. I do them a week before or a few days before they're actually presented. And that's why I'm always fresh. I can turn on a dime if I have to. So that's kind of, projects like.
That's kind of amazing. It's just like that.
Well, when I create a book, I create most of my books within a week's time. And that was 20 projects or whatever it was. It was just book mode from start to finish. And that's how I create a book. And it worked for me. But these are some projects that are like, but it has all different lessons with, again, layering and you learning to use certain things. This is one we just did, but these projects are unique. They're never sold anyplace else. They're only in our Teamworks group. So, and they get to learn lots of different stuff. And you can see that it's characters that I don't normally do. So it's a chance for me to step out of the box too.
And sometimes as a designer, you need that little push or that little inspiration to do that, to something to challenge yourself with. So I know.
So it's been fun, you know, and they get some input in it. And then we also this year I created the Crafters and Creatives Mean Business, because years ago I did a series of books called Crafters Mean Business, and I taught the craft thing, and it was the business side of it. And so I decided, with everything that was going on, we had not only crafters but creatives as well that had no place to sell and didn't know how to get online and didn't know how to do the things that we do. And so I created Crafters and Creatives Mean Business, which then created the online market spot by Crafters and Creatives. And that's where we have live sales and live classes and things like that. But it's actually a selling place. It's a place where people can come and we do the live craft show, basically. And people have learned to get on their little cameras, and you know, they've learned all the lessons.
Yeah, I've watched several, and it is wonderful that you've given them an outlet, because again, due to the pandemic, where could they sell, right?
Well, that's just it. And some of these gals, they rely on that money, one to either keep their craft going or just to make, you know, for us, it would be making a living. So, you know, I've created my own little niches here and there, but for some people, they have no idea how to do it. And some have been very, very successful. Excellent. Where can you make in a 15-minute time or in a 30-minute time thousands of dollars in sales? Not hundreds, thousands.
That is amazing. And that they could do it from the and again, this is an overused phrase, but comfort of their own homes, you know.
Right. None of them are comfortable.
Yeah, that you know, but you know, I'm thinking as a crafter with my mom, we always had to lug all this stuff in totes in a car and drive somewhere and then set up the table and, you know, put all the stuff out, arrange it so that people would find it attractive and want to buy it and stuff. And then at the end of the day, put it all back in the totes and get home and be exhausted. Now they just do it right there. They have all week to work on displaying it. Well, they don't display it because they get handed and then off and then
right
and then off. So, I mean, how wonderful, right?
Yeah. And there's other groups that are out there, you know, but we made ours a little different in that we're combining the two. And so we have education plus we have sales opportunities. So
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So you have those two things, but do you have anything else going on at the same time, or do you
I've got the Teamworks, I got the live, and we do the 12 days of Christmas every year. That's a huge thing. And that we do it twice a year. It's usually a Santa summer workshop. And then we do 12 days of Christmas. And that's a big deal and has become a kind of a tradition for people. So it's a cool program. And I have to videotape 12 different ornaments, and and then have to write they get everything in their packet, and it's all packed. And believe it or not, I actually package every single one of those as far as into the things. We have people that help us try to put all those papers in there, but when it comes to the final packing, I actually pack every single one of them.
Wow.
Because they have to fit just so.
So do you have to do a lot of editing, or are you that you can start to end and not have to edit anything.
I start to end, but I do my videotaping in short segments, and then they piece it together. So
Okay, cool. Because I remember those days. I'm glad I'm not.
yeah, no. So I have one gal that helps me with that, and Peggy puts all the video up for me and all that kind of stuff. So, and I do. I've got my camera up here. You probably can't see it, but
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. So I still go on a Panas. Well, this is a.
So someone
Sony.
is asking how. So basically, I want you to tell the people how they can get in touch with you or get to where they need to be to become part of the Crafters and Creative business.
Yeah, Crafters and Creatives is open right now. We do close subscriptions so that we close the doors sometimes, so then we just concentrate on the people that are in. But right now, Crafters and Creatives, if you go over to the website, there is a place to sign up to be Crafters and Creatives. And that, what it does for you, then we meet on Tuesday nights, and we do the business, whether it be a lesson or whatever. And then we then have our sales opportunities a minimum of once a month. So we get people ready to go. And so we have some new people now in the group. And we didn't start this until I think it was November of last year. So we came in, another group had started, and I actually was not going to do it, because I'm like, oh, now it's just going to look like I'm just trailing right behind, because another craft group had done it, even though I had this other twist on it. And a friend of mine had to say to me, Laurie, there's two kinds of grocery stores. There's always, two kinds of, you're each going to do something different. And that's true. So we just went ahead, and so we decided we better get in before more people got in. So ready or not,
I don't even know what the other group is. So there you go. You're the only group I know that does it. Shows you how isolated I am.
Yeah. And the other thing we do is we also do, when we come back and have get-togethers, we still do a Creative You here, which is kind of the ultimate get-together. It's a small group, and again, it's challenges, like the cook thing where they get a basket of goodies and they have to create something. We kind of do the same thing. I present a project, but then they're welcome to go outside the box, and we have boxes of stamps and all kinds of different things for them to use. And they can, if they don't want to do snowmen, they can do whatever they want, but they have to meet the criteria of the project.
That sounds really great. I mean, I would even be interested in that one. That sounds really cool.
It's fun.
Yeah,
fun.
It is.
And you get a bunch of creatives together like that, and it's a lot of fun.
Which reminds me, because I went perusing your website just a little while ago, and
Yeah.
You have a tab on there that says recipes.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Well, when we started our Creative You, my mom was a fantastic cook, and she said, I'll do the cooking, you do, everything else. Well, then when she passed away, we continue the thing. So we still do all the cooking for our seminar when it comes. So we provide lunch every day, and it's homemade, and it's, Sandy even makes noodles from scratch and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, we do this traditional recipes my mom did. And so, that's what that is. So, and then we did, for the pandemic, we did a coffee talk. And that we used to have like 100 people show up just to talk the breeze, and we do a recipe. And then we actually did a cookbook. If you, everybody put in their recipes, and we did a little cookbook. So
amazing. Yeah. That is so cool. So do you also entertain your guests?
Do we entertain as far as what?
Someone had mentioned something about a ukulele.
Oh, this?
Oh, that.
I'm currently working on St. Patrick's Day and Easter songs. So. Not ready for performance yet.
Ah, darn. I thought we might be able to entice you to a little jingle as our send off since our hour is up. And it was wonderful talking with you. I love your stories. I love your artful journey that you and bless you that you keep going and breaking new grounds, because that's what we need to do and to thrive.
Well, you have to keep walking the ledge, and that's what's fun, and now, I've been able to travel all over the country. I've done all, conventions everywhere. I've taught all over the country. I've taught in Italy, and a lot of people have done that, but it's been just an incredible journey as far as the people that you've been allowed to meet and become friends with. And what do? We laugh. Because if you're not having fun, there's no reason to do it. And I love decorative painting. I do the simple stuff. I'm proud of it. Cute is not a 4-letter word.
I get it. Oh, wow. But that's wonderful that you were able to ride the curve. You're back up here and you've got so much to share, and everybody, you can go read all the comments, and everyone is so happy that you share your knowledge, you share your pain with us and your triumphs. So thank you all for being here tonight and writing all these beautiful things about Laurie. And Laurie's going to go in there after, and she's going to put all of her tags, her Facebook groups, her, wherever you want to send them, the website. Do you have a Pinterest?
No, we've tried, and I've tried Instagram, and I don't understand.
I don't do Twitter. I have a Twitter account, but that blew my mind.
But you know what? I decided to concentrate on one thing, and I think being on 4 times a week is just enough for me.
I would agree.
That's enough.
With that. I would agree with that. So, but yeah, go into the thing after, and you can put all that information in. Please go visit Laurie's website, visit Laurie on her Facebook group, and catch her at least one of those 4 times a week. You won't be disappointed at all. I've caught several of them, and I'm sorry I'm not in there all the time, but where I am, right?
Exactly right. I know what you're doing.
But yeah, please do that, because like I said, you will not be disappointed. And thank you so much, Laurie, for sharing this hour with me.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. So it's been wonderful.
And I look forward to, oh, by the way, and you're doing an ornament for Artful Webinars.
Right.
So that'll be coming up also. So keep a watch out on the artfulwebinars.com website for that news. And if you are a member of our newsletter, you will get that notification that her registration will be opening when it's time. So thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your week, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Bye.